Hello, everyone. It's such a joy to be here. And I want to welcome you all to the Business Executive Leadership Masterclass. What an awesome time. First of all, let me take a few moments to acknowledge and also appreciate the visionary leader, the lady minister, Mary Jane, for this great initiative, for saying yes. I cannot begin to imagine how many lives you have touched and continue to impact with this program. And so, on her behalf, her own behalf, and the entire team at Career 360, I'd like to welcome every one of you for joining today's program. I'm learning that it's the final cohort, the final lesson for this cohort, meaning that there's going to be another cohort. But well done. Congratulations to my sister for this great feat that you have chalked together with the team at Career 360. Today, my task is really simple. I was given the task to speak to you. It's been almost 2 decades in the corporate space. And my task is to share with you compounded wisdom that I have gleaned in the last 2 decades. All right. The wisdom with this is that sometimes you can be rising or you can elevate through revelation. Okay. Through revelation. It's even in scripture in the book of Galatians. You can actually elevate through wisdom. And it is good for you to elevate through wisdom than it is for you to go through the experience. So you don't want to say, look, I'm going to have my own experiences before I learn the lessons. It's actually quite faster. And it is also wisdom for you to gain from the wisdom of others, the lessons, the experiences, so that you can propound and propel your own future forward quicker than they did. So lessons I've learned in the last 20 years, that's going to take you a long time. All right. But I'm going to try as much as possible to give you a compounded part of it that's relevant for your journey. Because the whole idea is, I believe my sister would tell you, I want to be able to impact a generation, or I want to be able to live behind a generation that would do better than I did, that would have better advantage because of the knowledge that I'm able to share, because of the wisdom that I'm able to share. All right. So it's a good thing you're here, and I welcome you all. Just a few housekeeping rules. I want you to grab your journal. By now, if you still work with MJ, you would know that one of the things you do within the Career 360 arena is journaling. We don't joke with journaling. Journaling is life. You have to be a voracious consumer of knowledge. Do you understand? But the thing is, the more you write, sometimes that's how you retain the knowledge. So grab your journal, invite someone. I want you to share the link with many others, many others. When I say many others, I'm speaking to somebody who's probably just starting their career, or they're in school, final year, second year, but eventually would come into a career, eventually would go and start their own businesses, become an entrepreneur or become an intrapreneur. There are two things. Yeah, you can either be doing your own business, or you are also an intrapreneur. You're entrepreneur in somebody's vision. All right. So whether you intend to go into the entrepreneur visionary lifestyle, or you also decide that you want to go into the corporate to help partner and release your blessing on another's business, this is still very relevant for you. And I want you to invite as many as you can to join us, because it's going to be an awesome time. All right. Now let's get straight into it. The theme for this program is Business Executive Leadership Masterclass. All right. And one of the things I want to ask of you is that you pay very close attention to it. Beyond the career ladder, beyond the career ladder, you weren't born to fit in. If you look on my screen, you see that what I'm sharing on my screen is saying that you weren't born to fit in into an organization. You were born to reshape it. You get what I mean? Scripture says that you are the light of this world. You are the light of this world. One of the things you must have, it's an identity creed, is who God calls you, is who God made you, is who He says you are. All right. So you take it in, or if you are yet to, you take it in, and then you know that you are light. You are salt of this world. It means that salt reshapes. If you put salt into a soup or a stew or anything you're trying to cook, it's tasteless, it's shapeless, it's formless, literally until you put in a pinch of salt, and it changes the whole taste. The whole taste. Otherwise, a whole pots, regardless of how big it is, could go to waste and not be edible to a whole human race just because salt was left out. So you are that significant in that gender of God. You are that significant here on earth. We need the blessing of you for many others. And so a pinch of you in an organization, the whole essence is for you to reshape it, give it taste, give the organization taste, give the business taste with your presence. Once you are there, there should be taste in there. Do you get it? So it's not just for you to fit in. I've just finished school. All I need is a job. I know most of us must have said that, but I'm trying to reshape your thinking, how you perceive yourself, that all you need is not just a job, but what you ought to be is salt that gives taste within the environment, within the organization that you work, within the business in which you operate in. All right. And you are also light. So what light does is that it's clearly, once there is light, it provides direction, it provides guidance, it provides strategy. You can think clearly. Nobody wants to be in a dark place because it's confusion, it's chaotic. You can't see clearly. A lot of things could go missing. But once you are there as a light, it means that we are on track. All right, we can see because you're there. The organization is moving forward because you're there. The organization has strategy because you're there. The organization has customers because you're there. The organization has profitability because you're there. The organization is more sustainable because you're there, because your presence is there. I want you to carry yourself aside, that you weren't just born to fit into any organization, but you were born to reshape it, to give it influence, to give it meaning and essence. I'm going to let that marinate and sit with you for a little bit, a little bit. All right. I hope that helped you. Yeah. Now, I know one of the main things we think about, we all desire as human, is growth. Is growth. Everybody wants to grow. When you go into an organization, for example, after university, there is a national service that you undertake. By the time you're done, your thoughts are, I should be retained, or you have an organization or a business in mind where you want to be working, or where you want to be identifying with, or where you think you can give of something to. You can give of your best self to. So it's a natural desire in the heart of everyone that we must grow. There's a saying in our local parlance that if you keep water in a bottle for too long and it has no passage, it has no way of outflowing into another, eventually it begins to smell. Eventually you won't like the smell anymore because the smell won't be nice. All right. So it is in an innate desire. It is something God placed inside the heart of man, in the formation of man, that at every given point in time, you want to make progress, you want to grow, you want to climb, you want to you don't just want to be stagnant, you have to grow. But one question I want to ask you this morning is, do you want to grow through your organization, or you want to climb up? Mm. Yeah, I know that's a deep question, and that got you thinking. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I'm so glad it has you thinking. Do you want to grow through the organization, or do you want to climb up? Because they are two different things. To grow is to grow in not just height, but depths as well. To grow in depths as well. If you see, the thing with the ladder is that the ladder goes up, a ladder just goes up. It has it's a static, yes, and you can only climb up the ladder. All right, but it cannot widen as you climb. Do you get what I mean? So there is a difference between wanting to grow and also wanting to climb. Now, most of us, especially when you're within the corporate, or you work for an organization, a business, or a ministry, we want the titles, we want the status, we want the promotion. Yes. So maybe you enter like an intern, or yes, and then the next thing as a national service person, then the next thing you're taking on as an officer. Your next desire is, I want to move on. Do you see? You want the next role. You want to become a supervisor. You want to become a head. You want to become a manager. If you look at the cadres, depending on which industry you're in, you want to climb up the ladder. And that in itself is not wrong. However, I want to bring your attention to something. Like I mentioned, climbing up makes you static. You don't learn a lot. Have you ever met someone who is a supervisor in a team? But sometimes you're looking at yourself and they are unable to take care of their deliverables. So they have a big, huge title, but they cannot deliver on any of their deliverables. They fall short of it, very incompetent. They write a report, it's not up to par with the position or portfolio they hold. They make a presentation not adding up, they can't get the numbers right, literally demonstrating such level of incompetence, have not upgraded their skill. And sometimes you're wondering, how did you even become the supervisor? Are you even a head? How are you even in this role? How are you an officer? When you cannot even deliver on these basic deliverables, sometimes it gets you wondering. What happened to them is that they may have climbed up the ladder through whatever means. I don't want to go there. I believe we all know how some people climb up the ladder. All right. But as they were climbing, they didn't grow through the processes. They didn't grow through upskilling. They didn't grow through experiences, project experiences, to learn the lessons. So even though they have climbed, they are unable to deliver because capacity was not built in the process for the top. So the thing with growing through is that it helps you to build capacity. You build roots for where you are headed. Do you get the difference? You're able to build capacity from where you're headed. Now look at something on, if you can see my screen. What I said was climbing is about titles, promotions, and external recognition. It's the visible side of success. It is seen. If you're a supervisor in a department, everybody sees it. Sometimes we have a label, which is equally beautiful. We have a label on our doors, or we have it on our desk, a tag on our desk. supervisor of customer service or customer service manager, you know, and it is visible for people to see. It is moving up the organizational ladder, collecting accolades, and positioning yourself higher than others. Sometimes that's what we want out of either our insecurities, our own trauma. We've never felt good enough. And so we're trying to prove a point, you know, for whatever reason. And sometimes they may also be for good intent. But look at the difference between climbing up and growing through. Okay. Now, growing through, I said, growing is about developing, first of all, character, competence, and capacity. It may be invisible side of success because growing happens within, not outside, not external. Growing happens within the person, not external. So it may not be seen, it may not be visible, doesn't come with titles. But as you grow, you know through experiences, your character is being formed, your character is being shaped, your soft skills are being perfected. Do you see? For example, a team member provokes you so much and you were put under so much pressure, but you were still able to deliver on a deadline, a very strict deadline. Sometimes you don't even know what you're capable of doing until you come under such pressure. So the moment you were put under that pressure and you had to say no to a few other things so that you can work on the projects, work on the report, work on that file so that you can send back to your boss or your supervisor, you will learn new things because there are times you have to research. Now, hitherto, if that pressure was not mounted on you to have done or deliver on those deliverables, you would have spent that time on something else, which wouldn't have grown you. You could Netflix with it. Because you had a deliverable and a timeline to it, you decided, well, I have to sit down and I have to make sure that I am delivering on this. It is in the doing, the motion of doing, that you're becoming, that you're researching. And so you are grabbing new knowledge, something you didn't know before. As you were researching, you found it. You didn't even think that you can keep your attention span for more than 30 minutes, only to realize, look, I've been at this Excel for the last 45 minutes. I didn't even realize. Because I'll do it, I'll make a mistake, I'll keep going back because I've got to deliver this by 4 p.m. or 2 p.m. or an hour. So it is an experience you gather. And if you had not gone through that, you wouldn't have grown. So what you realize is that the next time you're given a report to write, a similar report, you will spend less hours because you've gained some level of 30 minutes or 45 minutes experience in the last job or in the last task or assignment. Do you understand? So the last task or assignment gives you experience for the next. So what it does is that now you have a little bit of wisdom, you have a little bit of experience, you now know what and how and where to navigate, who to call, which of your stakeholders you need to mobilize, who is important in the project you're doing, who just needs to hear about it, who you need to build an ally relationship with. Yes, because you work in a corporate organization and it builds your character. And for the corporate or business world, that's what we call soft skills, leadership skills. Because at a certain point within the organization or within the business, technical skills may not be exactly what is needed because that can be taught. But a leader would have to possess certain characteristics, and that's what some people now call soft skill. How intelligent you are emotionally, and how strategic you're thinking. And when I talk about strategic thinking, it means how you're able to link your job to the overall business objective. Every business would have an objective. It's not just about you, not just about your little small department or corner. what you're doing is contributing into an overall business objective. So strategic thinking in simple terms, let me not overcomplicate things for you, is to map out your ability to map out how your own little contribution in your corner, in the office, within that department, or in that business contributes to the overall business objective of the organization. Do you get it? We can break them down into several things, but for now, that's what you need to know, right? So that's what it means to grow through. You will grow in character, you will grow in competence. Yes, very, very important. Competence. Competence is your ability to deliver, to do the work. Do you see? So if you say someone should bring, let's say, 15 customers by December, the ability to deliver is critically based on their competence, their can do. Do you get what I mean? Can they do it? Yes. If they can, it means they are competent to deliver. And that's competence, because for every job that you go on, that's what they're looking for. People who can do it. Between you and 12 other national service persons, or between you and 12 other applicants, who can do the job. And that's your competence that you bring on board. All right. I hope that helps. All right. So I want us to then move into what I call the ISW growth blueprint. It's a growth blueprint in every organization. Remember, I said I am trying to compound for you years of experience spanning local and multinational organizations. All right. Sit on a few other boards. So what I have gleaned over the years, and these are not, even though they are research backed, very practicable, very pragmatic blueprint that you can immediately take, plug and play, start to gain some results. That's what I'm giving to you. Now, I'll just run through them quickly. Again, this is part one of it. I think that the team would let you know when part two is also up. So this will be part one of it. And I hope that it blesses you, it changes you. The thing with knowledge is that it is in the application that you see the results, right? So as you learn, I don't want you to just consume the knowledge, but I need you to go and start working with it. So I made it as practicable as possible so you can apply the knowledge. So the ISW growth blueprint attributed to me, Celestine, right? This is attributed purely to me, is I want you to know that you have an identity and you're an asset. Yes, it changes the game a lot. You are an asset. Understand that you are not merely filling a position. You are bringing your unique value that can reshape outcomes and elevate the entire organization. You are the assets in motion. God did not just create you and you have no value. No, you are an asset that the organization needs at this time. And because God orders your steps, He decides that for now, in this season of your life, I need you to be in this organization so that, like the salt you are, reshape it, bring taste, bring knowledge, experience, and give of your best to this organization. Make a contribution to what this organization is building. Make a contribution. How are you going to make a contribution if you yourself, you are not an asset? It means you carry so much value, except that it is in a latent form. A latent form. Do you understand? Your value is in a latent form. So God gives you an opportunity to refine it and also to reshape it, to grow and become the finest at the expense of the business owner. Yes, at the expense of the business owner. Is this blessing you? Let me know. Let me know if this is blessing you. You are an asset. You are that salt. And an organization, let me do this illustration for you. You are the salt that is needed in that particular soup to make it tasteful in a season. So God will order your steps into a place, a business, an organization, or into whatever in a season to go and give off a taste of the salt in you to make that soup, that stew, that dish, that meal tasteful. What does that make you? An asset. And I want you to carry yourself as such, that you are an asset. All right? You are an asset. Hope that helps you. Yeah. And then the second thing is the service code. If we say we want to grow, how do we grow in an organization? There is a service code. And that service code, I want you to lead beyond the job. So serve until your excellence becomes undeniable, undeniable, undeniable. Have you gone into an organization where people are giving above 100%? Yes, yes, above 100%. You know, they don't say, oh, this is not my job. This is not part of my job. The service code, opportunity sometimes comes to us disguised in service. Listen to this again. Opportunities sometimes come to us disguised in service. Yes. And so I want you to take that note. And then there is the wisdom code, which is learn loudly. Feedback, false acceleration. Never ever ask for feedback and expect affirmation. You know, sometimes somebody is asking, oh, how did I do with the project? How is it? How did it go? And when they are giving you feedback on areas that you could have done better, you feel they either don't like you. And there are cases like that where people don't like you. But that's a different thing. But what I'm saying is that never ever assume that once you ask for feedback, everybody should affirm what you did. You should be interested in candid, objective feedback so that you can improve in areas quicker and faster. Don't be asking to be affirmed. Or you did something great with the report. You just want to be affirmed because you have self-esteem issues, but not postured properly to receive feedback so that if there are areas of improvement, you will work on them. All right. So what I said was feedback force acceleration, embrace correction, seek mentorship, and let every experience, good or difficult, teach you something valuable. Life is a mixture of the icing on the cake and the cake itself. Yes. But you know that the mixture of the cake comprises of not just butter or margarine or sugar. Sometimes they put brandy in it. Brandy sometimes is hot. There are other ingredients that if you separated them and tasted them, they aren't sweet. But all together make up a beautiful cake and a beautiful icing on top of it. So be open to receive difficult feedback so that you can become better, because it always teaches you something valuable. Is this helping? Let me know. Let me know. Before I take you into the clarifying your purpose, let me know if this is blessing you. I want to see it in the comments section. I want to see it in the comment section. Which of these do you think you're identifying with? The identity code. Have I been able to reshape your thinking? Have I been able to give you a higher thought, a transcendence that you are an asset? You are not just in the organization. You are not just Somebody is not just doing you a favor, but also because you are an asset, and they need you as salt or as light to brighten the place, to make sure that the soup is sweeter, the business is better. We have more customers. We have become more profitable because you came. Is the business becoming more profitable because you came, or it is making more losses? Because when you go and print photocopies of things you don't need, so you are just adding a cost to the business instead of helping to generate revenue or contain the cost. Businesses thrive on two things mainly. Are you helping to generate revenue, expand the baseline, expand the bottom line, expand the pot of profit? Or are you helping to even contain the operational cost? When you are leaving the office and the AC is on and you know there is nobody there, do you turn it out, or your posture is, well, it's not my business, let the AC be on? You run photocopies of things you don't need when you can actually just read them on your machine or your computer. But because you have the posture of, I don't care, it means you are not leading yourself. You ought to be able to lead your own self. Self-mastery, self-leadership is one of the greatest things you ought to have as a soft skill. Self-leadership, being aware of your environment. I need to turn off the light, even though it's not my business. And if you're a child of God, make sure that you are planting seeds that you want to reap a harvest of in the future, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Sow seeds that you are willing and happy to reap to in the near future, because you will reap them. Scripture says that God is not mocked. Whatsoever a man soweth, we will reap. So you don't have the posture of, but it's not my business. All you care about is my salary. For some of us, well, whether we work or not, or we go to work and we are binging, instead of doing the task, we will still get our salaries and we feel nobody's watching. The universe just has a way of rewarding some of these things. And if you're a child of God, then your posture must be different. We can't be lifting up our hands, making the loudest of noise during worship in church. And when we get into our organization, abuse, literally have an indifferent attitude towards the business and where the business is going. No empathy for customers. They ask you for something, I don't know, I don't care. All I need is my salary, because it's not my business, it's somebody else's business. That's not a godly posture to have. And that does not make you an asset. If you're in a business, the business should be more profitable. The business should become more sustainable. The business objective should be going on, contribute to it, because you're an asset. All right. And the service code, it's a posture you have. How may I help you? How may I help you? How may I help you? Always have that. Even when you are done with your own task on your desk, ask a colleague. That's how you learn, literally. That's how you upskill. That's how you build competence. How can I learn one new skill a day that makes the life of my boss easier? That's how you should think. We saw that the last time my boss flipping so many Excel charts. And maybe this weekend I'll spend time to learn about Excel, or maybe advanced Excel, so that I can help my boss the next time. Free your boss from some of the things. Take them from him. Take them so that he can focus on other things. And that's why you demonstrate asset. It's not for you to say, I know who God says I am. Yes, you are. But how do we demonstrate it practically? These are the ways. How can you make your boss, your colleague, a customer's life a lot easier than it is last month? All right. And I want you to think around those areas. Always ask for feedback so that you can improve on it. Okay. So this brings us to the end of part 1. We will be taking part 2 shortly. I don't want you to go. I hope that this is blessing you. Let me know what your greatest takeaway is in the comment section. Let me know what your greatest takeaway is in the comment section. All right. God bless you. Stay tuned for the part 2 of this.